Hey, John Harris here with the Rock Metal Podcast. Join me as we get to go behind the scenes into what goes into producing records and making music as we interview some of our favorite and soon-to-be favorite bands. Today we're chatting with Mike Seidel of VANAHEIM. For fans of Ensiferum, Moonsorrow, Finntroll, and Nightwish, we'll be chatting about VANAHEIM's new album, Een Verloren Verhaal, mixing done at Sandlane Recording Studios, mastering done by legendary Finnvox Studios. We'll get to hear the story about how all of that came to be, building an active fan base to promote your band, and so much more. So please stay tuned to the very end. But first, let's check in with our beautiful sponsors. Asher Media Relations, doing public relations for everything loud. For your band needs to be seen and heard in print, online, and radio. Head over to AsherMediaRelations.com. That's AsherMediaRelations.com. Mention the Rock Metal Podcast and get your band noticed. Syndicol Music is a full-service agency for musicians offering record label services, marketing, branding, production, and management. Head over to syndicolmusic.com. That's syndicolmusic.com. SYNDICOL music.com. Mention the Rock Metal Podcast and take your music career to the next level. Mike, go ahead and say hi to all of our beautiful listeners.
Well, welcome to everybody. Thanks for checking this out, this podcast. It's beautiful to be here. I hope you have a nice day wherever and whenever it is, but greetings to you all.
Absolutely great to have you on, Mike. Now, this record, Een Verloren Verhaal, hopefully I'm saying it correctly, but...
Yes, it's Een Verloren Verhaal. That's completely right. You didn't butcher it.
Very good to hear. Now, tremendous record, epic pagan folk metal. There's even like a violin, dueling guitar solo action going on it. Incredibly cool stuff. Music video will be posted on today's show notes. But nevertheless, what was the greatest moment for you producing this record?
Well, the greatest moment definitely was when we knew that the time has come, the album is going to be finished. Because this album was definitely like a big progress for us all in the band. And we have never done something that big. And that was such an effort for everyone. So we definitely didn't know exactly how it will turn out and if we could match our goals that we set for ourselves. But I mean, at some point we knew, okay, this baby is going to be released in February and it's actually not that far away anymore. So this is definitely a great moment.
Biggest progress for the band ever. Never done something this big with so much effort. Didn't know how it would turn out despite the fact of setting goals. So for, any other musicians listening in right now, maybe you're working on a podcast yourself, but nevertheless, you set a goal for yourself. Are you going to get there? Now, something that you'd mentioned there was, we've never done something this big and of such effort. So, what was the biggest challenge then for you guys on this record?
The biggest challenge was definitely to handle the workload that an album brings itself next to having a day job and a normal life, basically, because, we have a lot of orchestrations in the music and, the whole recording process definitely takes a while, especially when you, quad track the guitars, and then you go to the studio to record drums and all this kind of stuff. So this is really like a big task to handle next to usual things that you have going on in your life. So I would say the most challenging part was the orchestrations because it's basically the instrument, I will call it an instrument, that where the most time goes into.
All right. Who listening in resonates 100% with what Mike just said? Making an album, it's a lot of freaking work, especially if you're in the case of like epic pagan folk metal. You've got orchestrations that need to fit into the mix. Quad track guitars, baby. I'm running out of breath here. It's a lot to talk about. Plus day jobs, girlfriends, boyfriends, the people that want to spend time with you while you're holed up in the recording studio doing drums and everything else. Now, towards the end there, Mike, you were talking about thinking of the orchestra as one instrument, which is smart, and I just wanted to unpackage that. What went into creating the orchestra? What did you learn from the process?
You have all kinds of tools today to make orchestrations. You basically can use MIDI and program it on your computer. But the challenge is to make it somehow sound real, to make it believable, that it doesn't just sound like a keyboard, for example. You have to use certain tricks to make it sound more believable and more real. For example, you put more layers of one instrument behind each other, so it sounds more thick, and you adjust the pitch. For example, when you have multiple tracks of violin that are stacked on top of each other, you adjust the tuning a little bit, the pitch, so it sounds thicker, and all these kind of things. So yeah, that's it basically.
All right, everybody listening in right now, there's the trick, there's the tactic. If you want to make keyboards sound like more realistic orchestrations, layer everything up and even change the pitch of each individual track. Because if you think about it, that's basically what an orchestra is. Yeah. Multiple violins playing a part, and each one is going to be tuned a little bit different, even playing a little bit different because there's individual people. Now, Mike, I'd like to turn the conversation over to when you reached out to me as a reactor to react to one of your music videos. I was blown away. I thought to myself, is this the strategy? Is this how bands are building up fan bases, an active fan base? Yeah. So anyway, take us through it. For everybody listening in right now who's surprised, shocked, wondering, should I be doing that?
Yeah, I will start with, especially when you're a smaller brand like us and you're independent, you don't have any label support, and all that stuff. You really have to stand your ground because you have a lot of competition, basically from all the other bands. And if you want to get out there, you have to use every available tool that you have, which of course means you write a lot of emails to a lot of people, for example, a lot of reaction channels like you did, you did reaction videos, and we saw that, and we looked into it when we thought, okay, he does a cool job. I mean, his reactions are nice. Why not? Let's write to him and see.
If you like them.
Yeah, more on that later. It was actually really funny to see. But yeah, you have to use every available tool to bring yourself out there, whether it be for reaction videos, for every kind of promotion, writing to magazines, just for reviews, for example. Like we wrote a ton of emails to magazines and webzines if they would like to review our album. Because basically this gives you publicity. And I mean, without doing any of this, we wouldn't be where we are at the moment. I mean, we're still not the biggest band at all, but still we know that it worked out, definitely, and that we gained a lot of fans over the last year since the release of the album. And you have to put a lot of effort into it. That's it, basically.
All right. Raise your hand if you resonate with what Mike said. Independent band, no label support. Or even if you have some label support, a lot of times you still got to get out there and do your own thing. You got to still do your own hustle. Using every available tool, and Mike mentioned some really good ones, getting onto that email and emailing webzines, magazines, asking for reviews of your work, trying to get as much free publicity and free exposure as possible. And then even mentioning this new tool in reaching out to reactors to get reaction videos. Take us a bit more through that. What are you looking for in a reactor?
Of course, you try to get on the bigger reaction channels because they have a lot of publicity. And if they react to your music, I mean, that's basically free advertisement for you. So that's good. Otherwise, these guys and girls also get a lot of emails and a lot of requests. So it's naturally that they don't react to your email or to your message, whatever. So we went from the big reaction channels to the smaller ones also in the meantime. And what we were looking for is basically you have these reaction channels that are very interactive with their audience, They really catch them and bring them into the video, so to speak. And there are also reaction channels that are a little bit more boring to watch. They just watch the video, pause the video or the music for, 2 times and say 2 sentences, and that's it, basically. So these were not really the ones we were looking for, but the ones that have more interaction with their audience, because you have to bind your audience to yourself and to the video, of course. And that's what we were looking for.
Wow. Okay. So in a nutshell, finding reactors that are interactive with their audience, or even just in general, you mentioned emailing, magazines or webzines, finding an outlet that is interactive with their audience.
Absolutely. I mean, if you manage to build up your own fans without buying likes or whatever, because that never works, you basically build a base for yourself with people that support you, that like to support you because they're so into your music and so into what you do, and you really build a base for yourself. And without this base, at least in my opinion, you go nowhere, because whatever, if you take any kind of hit in the future, I don't know, you write a bad album, you made a bad promotion deal, whatever, the base of your fans that has always been there will still support you because they have faith in you. I mean, if one album doesn't turn out that great, well, there will be a next one, right? Mm-hmm. And these people, they will always support you.
Yeah. Building an active fan base to help promote your work and support your work. More to come, but let's go ahead and check in with our beautiful sponsors. Two Mads is responsible for producing, mixing, and mastering some of the best metal for over the last 20 years. From Meshuggah to The Haunted to Poison Black, Kemper Profiler packs for guitar players, and Easy Drummer expansion packs for programming drums. Two Madsen can take your production to a level previously unheard. Head over to twomadsen.com. That's twomadsen.com. TUEMADSEN. Click contact, fill out the info for your next project, and let Two know that the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. Wormhole Death is a modern record label, publishing, and film production company born in 2008. Getting signed to this label means global distribution, publishing, and marketing with Wormhole Death's roster of global partnerships. Head over to wormholedeath.com. That's wormholedeath.com. Submit your band and let them know the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. Mike, how would you define success at this stage of your career?
Well, in this case, I can absolutely say that we feel successful with this band because we see that our audience is growing. We see that we play more shows and more festivals, for example. And we see that people want to hear what we can produce, and this is basically the biggest gift you can get as a band, to have an audience. Of course, you can write the music for yourself, which we also do because we do it because we like this kind of style and we like to do music. So if there wouldn't be any audience at all, we also would do music. But it's, the appreciation that people give you is such a big boost for keep on going and keep on going. Doesn't matter if it's hard or if it's challenging, you go through it. Also because of the people, because of the fans, the people that listen to you. And in this case, I think we are very lucky to have the fans that we have, because these people are just awesome. And in this regard, I also feel that we are really successful in what we do at the moment. We may not have the biggest numbers, but that doesn't interest anyone.
Right. Like you said, Mike, you may not have the biggest numbers right now, but the quality of the audience is there. And as you had said, the audience itself is growing. The gigs themselves are growing.
Indeed. It doesn't really matter if you have like 100,000 fans or 100. Because if these 100 people give you a super good time in what you do and they listen to your stuff and they make you happy, then it absolutely doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 100,000, because at least for us speaking, 10 people would be enough to make us happy. 10 people that support us to keep on going writing music, because in the end it's just broken down to writing music. You keep on going. That's basically it. And it doesn't matter if you keep on going for 10 people or for 100,000 or for yourself, but it gives you a reason to write music.
Yeah. Keep on going for 10 people or 100,000 people. The reason you're there is to write music.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What's the number one thing that you want people listening right now to do? Is there like a website that you want them to go to? What's the number one thing you want people listening to do?
If you want to have the full package, basically you go to our website, vanaheim.nl. And from there, you can be directed to Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok, and Spotify, whatever you want, whatever you are into. Our website will direct you, but we're also on every social media channel available, and YouTube, of course, Spotify. Did you know that you can follow bands on Spotify? You can do, and we would really appreciate if you would follow us on Spotify.
Thank you so much for using the tools that Spotify has given bands.
Yes, indeed.
But yes, go to vanaheim.nl for all of the relevant links. Go ahead and head over to the rockmetalpodcast.ca for today's show notes. You can see the music video as well as the link to vanaheim.nl. So those are the two places you can go to, vanaheim.nl and the rockmetalpodcast.ca for today's show notes for some extra goodies from today. So, Mike, thank you so much for coming on today.
John, thank you very much for having me and having my band VANAHEIM. It was an absolute pleasure. I really liked your questions, so keep on going. I mean, your reaction videos were good. We liked them. I think you put them down too much, but I mean, this was absolutely fun. Thank you.
And that's it for this episode of the Rock Metal Podcast. Stay tuned because next week we're going to be chatting with Ville Valo about his new solo album. We chat what it's like to make a solo record for the first time and what ended up becoming a very personal record for him. Go ahead and hit subscribe on your podcast player, share it with your friends, and I'll see you next week.